Today, I'm gonna walk you through how to do keto correctly. And this is for beginners or people who have tried it before and felt like it was unsustainable. What are we trying to do with keto? We're trying to switch the type of fuel that the body is running on. We wanna switch it from sugar burning to fat burning. And there's one hormone called insulin, which is the key for determining whether or not your body is burning sugar or burning fat. When insulin goes higher, your body's burning sugar for energy, so you want to keep it low in order to get your body burning fat for energy. A simple way of doing this, which is one of the main approaches to keto, is to just eat lower carbs or less meals. But that's very different than just lowering your calories. If you've tried keto before and it made you feel confused or tired or stuck, it's not because keto didn't work. It's because most people start it the wrong way. So let's fix that. Keto is really about fuel switching. As I just mentioned, your body can either run on sugar or it can run on fat for energy. Insulin is the hormone that determines which one of those fuel sources you're using. You can think of it like a traffic light. High insulin is sugar burning mode, low insulin is fat burning mode. Now, calories do matter, but insulin matters more when it comes to fat loss. And here's the part that most people miss. How often you eat impacts insulin more than how much you eat. And that's why meal frequency or meal timing matters so much when you're attempting keto. To lower insulin, carbs have to come down, especially at the beginning. That means removing all sugars to start with, even things like honey or maple syrup or agave. It doesn't matter what form sugar comes in, insulin just sees sugar as sugar. Another thing that surprises people is it's smart to avoid most fruits when you're beginning this. Yes, fruit is natural. It's loaded with fiber and antioxidants and phytonutrients, but it still provides your body with fructose and glucose, two forms of sugar. So when you're starting keto, it makes sense to avoid most fruits. The one exception that I tell clients is small amounts of berries tend to be okay. The last category you definitely need to avoid when you're getting started on keto are grains and starches. Bread, rice, pasta, oats, potatoes. The minute you eat these, your body converts them to sugar. Now let me be clear, you don't have to avoid these foods forever, but when you're starting keto, it's important to limit them so that your body can lower insulin and flip the switch to fat burning mode. But rather than being super strict with dietary changes, keto tends to work best when you replace instead of remove. For example, replacing sugar with sugar alcohols, things like erythritol or monk fruit, replacing regular flour with fat-based flours, things like almond flour or coconut flour, and replacing rice and potatoes with things like cauliflower rice or sweet potatoes. This helps you keep your meals familiar while also keeping insulin low. If you've tried keto and it felt really restrictive, it might be because you were missing some of these substitutions. Now here's a rule about keto that shocks most people. Keto works best when you're eating 7+ servings of vegetables each day. Vegetables are the exception on keto. Why? Because they provide fiber for your gut health and your digestion, they provide potassium and magnesium, and they provide other micronutrients that help prevent fatigue and optimize energy production. But here's an important point. The order in which you eat your foods matters a lot. I tell all my clients, eat in this sequence. Fiber first, protein second, fat last. This slows digestion, and then it slows insulin release even more. Another thing that people get confused by is keto is not a high protein diet. If you're trying to do keto but eating too much protein, a large percentage of that protein gets converted to carbohydrates in the body. Protein intake should be moderate, not excessive. One helpful rule to go by is the palm size rule. When you're determining how much protein to eat, it should be roughly the amount that could fit in your palm. And your best bet is to avoid very lean proteins or consuming too much whey protein powder. Why? Because rapidly absorbable protein also spikes insulin, almost like carbohydrates. Fattier protein tends to digest a little bit slower, and therefore it keeps insulin lower. Another thing I hear a lot when people are trying keto is this fear of consuming too much fat. But keto is high fat by the calories. It's not about force feeding yourself fat. Fat is critical for satiety or fullness, it's critical for energy, and it's incredibly important for your hormonal balance. The best fats when you're starting keto tend to be extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, or butter. The fats you want to try to avoid are the ultra-processed fats, the soy oil, corn oil, canola oil, or safflower oil. These seed and vegetable oils tend to oxidize pretty quickly, especially under heat, and so they cause inflammation and they end up disrupting the metabolism. Now let's talk about meal timing and intermittent fasting, because this is where keto really starts to accelerate. Your job when you're attempting keto is to eat only when you're truly hungry. I'm confident in saying that every single person watching this has dealt with what we refer to as reward hunger, meaning you're just looking for a snack because you're bored and your brain is looking for that dopamine hit. Now, we all deal with this, so it's important you're able to take a moment to actually reflect and see if you're truly hungry in those moments. Many beginners on keto tend to do best when they skip breakfast or delay that first meal and they ease into it. Now, the mornings tend to be easier because that's when your cortisol starts to rise naturally, which acts as an appetite suppressant. That's why hunger in the morning tends to be more psychological versus actual hunger. One other thing I want to point out is if you had a really big meal the night before, because of the impact it has on your insulin, which acts almost like a rubber band that you've just snapped, you're going to have a higher level of hunger the following morning. One of the best solutions for this is to have a glass of water with a little bit of apple cider vinegar in it, or to just enjoy your black coffee. If you want, you could even add a little bit of butter or some MCT oil. This keeps your insulin low, it suppresses appetite, and it extends fat burning. Now let's walk through one of the most important rules about keto. Snacking absolutely kills keto progress. And it's because of what we covered earlier in the video. The amount that you eat matters less than the frequency that you eat. Every snack raises insulin and ultimately triggers hunger later. So snacks are one of the biggest contributors to the cravings roller coaster. When you're fasting, stick to water, black coffee, and unsweetened tea. Here's a simple, realistic setup for most people. You break your fast and you have your first meal around noon, and then you eat your dinner between 6 and 7 p.m. That means every day you have an 18-hour fast and a 6-hour eating window. But let's recap. No snacking and 2 very solid meals. Plenty of vegetables, moderate protein, and enough fat to help you stay full. Keto done correctly looks like this. Low carbs, fewer meals, vegetables first, moderate protein, healthy fats, no snacking. By eating this way, your insulin stays low. And when your insulin stays low, fat loss becomes easier, hunger comes down, and energy stabilizes. And if this video helped you better understand keto, then subscribe to the channel, because my whole goal here is to give you the evidence-backed strategies that actually work when it comes to reclaiming your health.